Hello everyone. Myself Professor Dr. Rajashri Zavade, Assistant Professor, DG College of Commerce, Satara. Dear students, today I am going to discuss about Business Regulatory Framework, Paper 1, Subject Code 16502. So in this particular syllabus, we will be discussing Indian Contract Act, Seal of Good Act, Indian Partnership Act 1932 and Limited Liability Act 2008. Under Indian Contract Act 1872, we can see that this law is law relating to contract in India. Law is a basic necessity of every civilized society. According to Holland, law is a rule of external human action enforced by the sovereign political authority. In the words of Blackstone, law is a rule of civil conduct prescribed by the supreme power of the state, commanding what is right and prohibiting what is wrong. And that's why, if we are talking about law, law is a means of regularizing the rights and the duties of the party. Now we'll talk about commercial law or business law. What is commercial law or business law? So, commercial law or business law is the body of law which governs business and commerce and is often considered to be a branch of civil law and deals both with issues of private law and public law. Commercial law regulates corporate contract, hiring practices, and the manufacture and sales of consumer goods. Business law is also known as commercial law or corporate law or company law, which is the body of law applies to the rights, duties, relation, conduct of the parties, business engagement in commerce, trade, and sales. It is often considered to be a branch of civil law and deals with issues of both private and public law. Many countries have adopted civil codes. Like India also, we have adopted Indian Contract Act 1872, Sale of Good Act 1930, Indian Partnership Act 1932, Partnership Limited Liability Act 2008, Company Act. So there are many law, commercial law or business law, which regulates commercial or business transaction. So here, while studying this business law or commercial law, we need to understand that this law comes under the stream of civil law. So we need to understand civil law. If there is infringement of our rights, person can go to the court of law and ask for the remedy. So it contains the general principles of contract, contract of indemnity or guarantee, bailment and pledge, agency, contract of agency. So there are general contract and there are special contract. There are general contract. If we talk about general contract, we need to understand general and special contract. So even special contract, the special contract which now we are talking about, contract of indemnity and contract of guarantee, bailment and pledge, agency, contract of agency. There are parties. So there may be rights, there may be liabilities under this special contract. So general and special. The law of contract deals with those transactions or promises which create legal rights and obligations. So in this introductory lecture, I would like to tell you that this Indian Contract Act 1872 recognizes the rights and the duties, liabilities and the obligations of the parties in general contract as well as special contract. In case of non-performance of promise or duty, one party that he or she can go to the court of law and ask for the remedy. So remedy may be in the form of specific performance, injunction or declaration, which is under the Specific Relief Act. So remedy is available there. Remedy is nothing but the justice. So person can approach to the court and they can ask for the protection or the justice. My dear students, I know that you have seen, you have studied this contract and the definition part and the introduction of this contract law, and Professor Ketkar ma'am also had completed some topics. But to sum up, generally contract may be defined as an agreement which creates rights and obligation between the parties. These obligations and rights must be of such a nature that these can be claimed in the court of law. According to Salmon, a contract is an agreement creating and defining obligation between the parties. Section 8, subclause H of Indian Contract Act defines contract as an agreement which is enforceable by law. So this is very important thing, my dear students. If we want to understand enforceable by law, that means if the contract is valid, then only that will be enforceable by law. So in this business regulatory framework subject, we need to understand contract essential consists of three elements. There should be an agreement, and there should be an offer and acceptance. Offer and acceptance. Yes, obligation. So obligation on the both the party. They need to perform their duty in a particular manner. They need to follow the terms and conditions prescribed under the contract. And if there is any problem, enforcement is also there. People can go to the court of law and they can ask for the remedy. Yes, so the agreement involves a valid offer by one party, a valid acceptance by another party. And enforceability, it means contract must be a legal in nature, which can be claimed in the court of law. Elements of a contract, this also I think you have seen, you have studied. An agreement to be enforced in the court of law to satisfy certain conditions. On satisfying these, the agreements become a contract, and those conditions becomes essential of a valid contract. Essential elements of contract are contained in the definition of a contract given section 10. So section 10 is very important, which talks about essential elements of a contract. According to this section 10, agreements are contract if they are made by free consent of the party. Party should be competent to enter into a contract. There should be a lawful consideration and then lawful object. This is very important thing. When contract is there, these are the elements of a valid contract which are provided under section 10 of the Indian Contract Act 1872. 1872, which is very important. And here finally, it is not declared expressly void. Contract should be valid. Contract should not be illegal. Contract should be legal. Contract should be valid one. So these are the essential elements or ingredients of a contract. So this topic also Professor Ketkar ma'am had completed in earlier lectures. The essential elements of a contract. So here you have seen agreement, offer and acceptance. Then lawful consideration, which is also very essential, without which no contract will not be there. And the person who are entering into a contract, capacity is very important. Person should be capable to enter into a contract. There are two persons or personality, one major and one minor. Yes, but the person who is minor, there are some reasonable restrictions, and the contract with minor person will not be enforceable by law. Free consent. Here, this topic I will teach you in the next lecture. This is the subtopic. So, free consent is very essential ingredient. Section 13 to Section 18. These are the sections of Indian Contract Act which are related to this free consent. The free consent which is not caused or polluted with fraud, undue influence, coercion, misrepresentation, mistake. So that should not be present in a consent. If the consent is received, consent is adopted by using force, by cheating, by doing fraud, so that will not be a proper consent. Consent should be always a free consent. The next is consensus added on. What is this? It means the two parties of the contract must agree upon the subject matter, same subject matter, in a same manner and in a same sense. This is very important thing. There should be a lawful object, my dear student. This is very important thing. When we are trying to understand the concept of this valid contract, the object of the contract should be lawful one. There should not be any contract which will be for the illegal purpose. There should not be any illegal or unlawful purpose in the contract. Contract should be always for the lawful purpose. Next is not declared to be a void. A contract should be always valid one. It should not be declared to be a void one. That means the contract which will not be enforceable by law. Contract should be always enforceable by law only. Then certainty and possibility of a performance should be there. Suppose A and B is trying to enter into a contract, and the terms and the conditions which they have framed are uh, right, capable to perform. The terms and conditions of a contract should not be imaginary. Yes, if the contract is on a contingent basis, then that may be on the happening of event, that may be voidable at the option of the party. So something should be there which has to be done. There should be an object, purpose, why the parties want to enter into a contract. So their interest should be there. Interest may be, their rights may be in the form of consideration. There should be a free consent and lawful objects. So all these are very important thing in the contract. And ninth point is an intention to create a legal relationship. So my dear students, here this point is very important. When we talk about our about agreement, offer and acceptance, proposal, promise, and etc. So intention is very important. Party should be freely willing to enter into a contract. There should not be any force and any coercion or undue influence by which there may be a chaos or there may be a disturbance, there may be a breach of a contract. It should be free from all these things. So there may be an intention, there must be an intention to create a legal relationship. Yes, if they are trying, if the parties are willing, they are ready to enter into a contract, there should be a possibility to perform the contract in a good manner. And future there should not be any such a thing which will be harmful to either of the parties. Another formality finally, it will include contract should be in a written form, it should be signed by both the parties, and etc. So all these elements of essentials of contract which we need to understand in a proper manner. And this is very important aspect. Remaining subtopics under unit number 1. So these are the subtopics. Free consent. In next lecture I will be teaching you free consent and legality of object. Subtopic void agreement, discharge of contract, and remedies for breach of contract. So all these points I will be covering in the next lecture. So in unit number 2 there are special contracts. So contract of indemnity and guarantee, contract of bailment and pledge. So these are the special contract. So here indemnity and guarantee, bailment and pledge, and contract of agency. So these are the special contracts we will be trying to understand in the coming lecture or the next lecture. Then unit number 3, which is about Sale of Good Act 1930. I will be teaching you, or I will teach you this particular topic. We have to see the rights and the remedies which are provided under this particular act, Sale of Good Act 1930. And in Marathi it says like Mal Vikray Adhiniyam. Unit number 4, which is about Limited Liability Partnership Act 2008. So here I would like to tell you that first we need to understand Indian Partnership Act 1932. Some part or some essential aspect. We will deal with this, the rights and the duties of the partners and etc. And then extended form in the 2008. So there are many benefits under this LLP, Limited Liability Partnership Act 2008. This is Bayer Act. Here again I would like to tell you about reference books. So dear students, you can use Elements of Mercantile Law by N.D. Kapoor. Avtar Singh book is also there. Principles of Mercantile Law by Avtar Singh. Commercial and Business Laws books by various authors. You can also refer Bayer Act. You can refer websites and various books. You can use your study material which is relevant. Then there are journals and articles, and there are latest news and the amendments also. So these will be proper for your study. These are my references. So you can visit this site also. You will get material. Thank you. Thank you, my dear students. If you have any query or any problem, you can contact me on my email ID. Thank you once again.